A very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. I will try to say that in Spanish. Unos muy buenos tardes a todos. And a todos. And I want to congratulate Discoveries Mining on putting this conference together. There is indeed a need for technical conferences of this nature. We have presidents, CEOs, investors, geologists, mining companies, journalists, activists, artists, and all captains of industry can network and do business together. To all the sponsors and all the media partners, I want to thank you very much. You have been a very informative source. Just to let you know a little about my interest in mining, as a journalist, my interest began when I was asked to present a paper on transforming landfill gas to energy. This was a project aimed at enhancing the development of renewable energy as a way to the future. It was a project that eventually landed me in the mining industry. It was there that I found out that landfills are buried storehouses of methane. And it was here that my interest in mining began. I have also been a writer at the many international climate change forums that are held in the margins of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. And what I found out is that if there is to be a sustainable development towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal of 2030, then mining should and must be included in the sustainability agenda. Why do I say that? Because mining is how we live our lives in a new technological age. And because of that, I think it is time to spark a new dialogue on mining. It is time to promote collaboration. It is time to jointly carve a path towards a more technological, sustainable future. As we all know, the invasion of Ukraine has caused an energy crisis globally. But as we look around us, it is more than an energy crisis. The way we choose to live our lives will determine our survival. As many junior mining companies are aware, Mercedes-Benz will be going all electric by the end of the decade. And they are doing this through agreements with the government of Canada. They are also doing it with the help of a company called Rocktech Lithium. The government of Canada is signing agreements with Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz to access raw materials for batteries in electric vehicles. The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, he has said that these agreements will help secure Canada's position as a leading center of excellence for the making of electric vehicles and batteries. But what I want you to understand is that the fact that Mercedes-Benz is now entering into partnership with Rocktech Lithium to deliver up to 10,000 tons of lithium hydroxide by 2026 means that the focus should now be on clean, sustainable, reliable materials that won't run out in the next decade. This also means that there will be an increase for the demand of raw materials such as cobalt, lithium, graphite, manganese, and copper. The demand for energy is what is now driving the stock market. For investors here today who already have lithium stocks, they should be very excited because an energy explosion in lithium is about to begin. Experts are now predicting that the demand for lithium will skyrocket up to 10 times by 2030 because lithium is now the fuel that is empowering the green tech revolution. The United States government is now funneling hundreds of millions of dollars into lithium to make sure that Americans are not dependent on any other nations for lithium. Koch Industries has brought a $252 million US stake in New York listed Compass Minerals, which is now listed as the Great Salt Lake Lithium Project. The US is also seeking to accelerate the use of battery-powered vehicles. As we all know, gold, silver, cobalt, and tungsten are needed for sustainable development, and especially in a post-COVID environment. As an example, electric cars need lithium, nickel, and cobalt. Nuclear energy cannot function without uranium. Wind turbines and solar panels cannot function without copper, iron, and zinc. And steelmaking cannot function without coal. This may be one of the reasons why Tesla, as you all know, have heard of Tesla, an American multinational, multifunctional automotive company, is now eyeing Sudbury, Ontario, in Canada, for a manufacturing plant to continue the designs and manufacture of electric vehicles. Mining is now a $48 billion investment globally. And with the spike in gold prices, it could even be greater. In the mining of the future, all means of transportation will be electrified. It seems that every world leader everywhere wants every vehicle to be battery-powered. Not only our trains and buses and other social services vehicles, but also our cars and trucks. All self-driving buses and trucks will be connected by the internet. This means that the electric system will have to be reprogrammed or redesigned to handle the high demand. This means that every vehicle out there will need hundreds of pounds of lithium to operate successfully. This also means that now is the time to develop a green solution towards the future needs of electrification, as the price of lithium is skyrocketing beyond numbers. We have a solution here today. The mining industry is the one who is going to be providing much of the needed materials for an electric-driven world. And it is here that the mining industry must begin building a dialogue around mining's contribution to the Sustainable Development Goal agenda, and especially goal number 9. It is here that the mining industry must begin to understand what types of partnerships will facilitate positive outcomes of Sustainable Development Goal number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. It is here that the mining industry must begin to engage in interviews on what large-scale mining companies are doing to integrate Sustainable Development Goal number 9 into their business strategies and to take proactive measures that will help to deliver these goals. It is here that I have chosen to work with a dedicated crew of media professionals and junior mining companies and investors to conduct interviews and podcasts to bring attention to the linkages between mining and Sustainable Development Goal number 9. It is here that I am providing an overview for investors and their stakeholders of the potential opportunities the mining industry presents to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goal number 9. And also to propose practical steps on how junior mining companies can improve their contributions to Sustainable Development Goal number 9 and its impact on media reporting. Presently, according to statistics, only 1% of American families can afford to be energy independent. Likewise, the uptick in climate change disasters are increasing in pace and severity across the globe. This is why we need to find real sustainable energy solutions. Fossil fuels are quickly running out, and the world's storage of lithium is projected to run out by 2027. There is also a new trend in alternative chemistry battery technology. These are the technologies that are shaking up the foundation of the energy industry. There must be deepened cooperation on sustainable battery manufacturing as well. There must be active collaboration, and there must also be the need for critical mineral supply. These are the arguments that will fund the developments of mines globally. This is the age of sustainable mining, and mining must be encouraged to provide sources of cleaner and more ethically sourced raw materials for electric vehicles globally. Mining now provides the tremendous opportunities for global technology and manufacturers right across the value chain. But the mining industry must also begin to do things in an environmentally friendly way. According to statistics, Goldman Sachs has said that the demand for electric vehicles is increasing. The auto sector demand is sharply rising from 1% to a projected 30% by 2030. Ford Motor Company has announced that it will use lithium iron phosphate batteries in some of its electric vehicles and is now investing in a rubber plant in the Brazilian rainforest. Many junior companies are shifting their investment portfolios from fossil fuels to battery metals such as nickel, copper, and cobalt. Governments are now forging closer collaboration between automakers and mining companies. Why? Because there is a need for nickel, there is a need for copper, there is a need for lithium, and there is the need for critical minerals to the energy transition and the elevated price of electric vehicles. So it is very, very important that government craft policies that attract investments to help erect a supply chain. Or, if not, there will be delays on climate emission reduction targets. The price of nickel has now risen from $4.50 US per pound in 2016 to $9.30 US per pound in 2022. And the mining industry is well positioned to be a key country in the search for critical minerals to meet the demands of a changing world. The technological achievements of Silicon Valley convinces us that technology is good. In fact, technology teaches us so many good things. Silicon Valley also teaches us that technology is neutral and can be applied for both good and evil. The same splitting of the atom that allowed us to turn on the lights of civil nuclear power also gave us the nuclear bomb. The same splitting of the atom also allowed us to administer medical isotopes in hospitals globally for the well-being of all humanity. Dependency on technology is surging since the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic. A sudden change in how we connected with others highlighted the need for a tech-savvy economy and a digital transformation that meets our economic, social, and political needs. The COVID-19 pandemic brought us to the realities of technology as our cell phones became the way we live. But what many of us don't know is that we need lithium to operate our smartphones. We need lithium for our laptops, and we need lithium for our cameras. We also need lithium for our battery-powered devices. We need lithium to continue our ways of life. As a result, the economic needs of humanity must be solved. This is now the time to foster communities of private sectors, governments, academia, and the media to begin to spark dialogues on mining. This is the time to understand the role that mining plays in the economy towards enabling effective partnerships for future gains. And these are the many reasons why I am here today. I am here today to produce powerful and inclusive convenings that elevate voices and perspectives from across all sectors. I am here today to advance important conversations around globally impacted issues of the mining industry and the mines as part of our economic well-being. I am here today to utilize all of the content I will have learned here about the diverse range of issues around the mining industry in order to create a dialogue with geologists, activists, academia, and with the media. I am here today to enhance already existing models, to transform conversations into actions in reference to goal number 9 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal Agenda. Now, while I was traveling here to Mexico, my eyes caught the attention of an article called "Adapt or Perish to Mining." It was quite a catchy hook, and I was forced to read the entire article. As many of you here know, the phrase "adapt or die" was coined by the famous writer Herbert George Wells. What it means is that for an entity to survive, it must be suited to its surroundings. I am suited to the surroundings of the rivers, the valleys, the hills, and the mountains of my homeland, Dominica. In Canada, I went through a change in my surroundings, and my survival in Canada depended on my ability to adapt to the rough Canadian winters or die. I chose to live. And so, adapt or die applies to the mining industry. Miraculously enough, adapt or die also focuses on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. We were all forced to adapt or die to the pandemic that is COVID-19. There were lessons to be learned, and we learned. In fact, we learned well. In the same way, we all need to adapt to a changing economy. We must be willing to explore our patterns. We must be willing to explore our habits. We must be willing to explore our behaviors. Change is inevitable. We must learn to adapt as the world moves forward or be bulldozed by progress. Historians before us have outlined brilliant examples beyond our comprehension. We have examples in the Industrial Revolution, the silent technological revolution, and now we are faced with a post-COVID environment. But we benefit when we remember that if we fail to learn from history, then we are doomed to repeat it. But what is the role of mining of the future in all of this? This clearly shows the way in which mining plays a key role in introducing and promoting new technologies. Mining facilitates international trade and commerce. Mining enables the efficient use of resources towards sustainable development. A World Bank report has stated that the production of minerals like cobalt, graphite, lithium will need to be ramped up by 500% by the middle of the century if we are to survive the onslaught that is to come. As demand for electric vehicles boom, the demand for key electric minerals such as aluminum, copper, zinc, and uranium are also increasing. Based on a focus by the McKinsey Center for Future Mobility, Battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles will make up more than 35% of new vehicle production by 2030 across China, Europe, North America, and the Caribbean. Statistics also show that aluminum share of the electric market is set to rise from around 30 to 50%. The demand for nickel will also grow because nickel also forms a key component of the battery. Therefore, the mining industry plays a major role in contributing to the achievement of United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 9 in the creation of a more resilient and resilient infrastructure. The mining industry plays a major role in catalyzing economic growth and employment and combating climate change. The mining industry is now coupled with innovations and infrastructure to generate much needed employment in a post-COVID environment. The shift to low carbon cannot happen without mining. Even though COP27 climate conference scheduled for next month in Egypt, which I'll be covering, they promise to shift global commodity and price. But as many journalists know, this can never happen. They cannot increase investment and prices without mining. There must be an increase in investment and interest in renewable energy. The world is unable to produce the huge amount of critical minerals to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement on climate change. The climate crisis poses an unmatched threat to humanity. If there are to be changes, we need to reduce greenhouse gas emission and source more renewable energy. Investors and policymakers must engage with the mining industry to understand what shapes the future of industries and the future chains within them. This understanding is especially important as the COVID crisis is affecting and continuing to affect the want of commodities, supply chains, and operating models within the mining industry. Likewise, mining companies must become the key drivers for economic growth in a post-COVID environment. The mining industry is building an economy that works for all. The mining industry is helping millions of people globally without a college degree to move into sustainable jobs to feed their families. The mining industry is boosting economic growth by creating jobs to promote sustainable industries and building resilience against climate shocks and other disruptions. If there is to be a greener future towards the deadline of the Sustainable Development Goals agenda, then mining must play a significant role in the green tech revolution. Why? Because lithium is the new fuel of the green revolution. But the mining industry must also begin to build constructive partnerships with governments, parallel industries, civil society, academia, and the media as a condition to sustainable development. The success of the Sustainable Development Goal number 9 now requires cooperation and collaboration among governments, junior and large-scale mining companies, development companies, investors, policymakers, NGOs, and the private sector. The mining industry is one of the chief vehicles that will aid sustainable development in a changing post-COVID world. In the mining of the future, the mining industry is the chief factor that will help towards the attainment of United Nations Sustainable Goal number 9 by 2030 and beyond. And for this, we must strive. I thank you.